This is Uncommonly Remarkable. We have surprisingly casual discussions about the lives and notable accomplishments of community leaders, entrepreneurs, and everyday folks like you and me. Think of this podcast as an opportunity to learn something new and to pick up on an entrepreneurial tip or two through open conversation. I'm Artis Beatty. I'm a doctor of optometry and the chief medical officer for My Eye Doctor OD. Though we will inevitably touch on topics within my area of expertise, the opinions and conversations held here are separate from my work with My Eye Doctor. Welcome to the show. Today's guest is Alan Lazaros, the CEO and co-founder of Next Level University, a global top 100 self-improvement podcast with over 2,000 episodes heard in more than 150 countries. Alan and his team are on a mission to help people reach their full potential through free daily content, group coaching, and intensive business mentorship. In this conversation, we unpack the mindset behind long-term growth, why most people secretly fear success, and how to build a life that's both profitable and fulfilling. If you're tired of chasing goals that don't feel aligned or wondering why external success still leaves you empty, this episode is your wake-up call. Ladies, gentlemen, all you remarkable people, please welcome Alan to the show. So excited to have you on. Thank you for taking the time. I know you've got a busy schedule, so we are really, really happy to see you today.
Thank you for having me. I mean it. I mean, 21st century, noisy world, anyone watching or listening, I do not take it lightly to be here. I do not take it lightly to have anyone listening, quite frankly, because they could be listening to anyone else in the world. So thank you. It's an honor. Uncommonly Remarkable is an awesome name. So the fact that you want to share any version of me that you might consider remarkable, I'm just grateful. So thank you.
Well, so I've listened to you for a while, and I've seen you on other shows, and it's just an impressive story, and the conversation is always great. But for people who are not familiar, it would be really good to maybe start where we are today and talk a little bit about Next Level University, because I think that sets the stage for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting the stage. And thank you for the kind words already. I appreciate it. That means a lot. So where I am now, I am the CEO and founder of Next Level University. And I really do mainly three things at this stage. In the beginning, you kind of have to do everything yourself. Now I have an 18-person team, and so I only do three things now. As pretentious as that might sound. I coach, I train, and I podcast. So coaching is one-to-one, training is one-to-several, and then podcasting is one-to-scale. And it's mostly reverse engineering goals and dreams. I'm a computer engineer, and it's dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and identity. And I'm big into metrics and tracking. I have a lot of people. All my clients are habit trackers and just keeping people on track. So that's what I'm doing now. And in terms of where I started, though, it's very different if you want me to go down that next.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story behind how you really got here is interesting, but I think it's a story that a lot of people can identify with at least parts of it and see some of themselves, particularly people who have had some ups and downs, who've been successful in some things and not so successful in other things. And there's always that balance of feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing versus what you have to be doing. So talk to us a little bit about what makes you you. Like, where did you start?
Okay, so I'm 36 now, even though I usually joke and say I'm hoping to hit puberty at 37. For anyone who's on camera, I look very young, which does not help me in my business career, by the way. People love to be coached by a 12-year-old. No, but ultimately, I'm 36 years old, and I started off tough. So I usually playfully joke, and I say there's two types of adversity in life. There's the adversity that happens to us, and then there's the adversity that comes as a byproduct of having huge goals. I, without knowing it, chose both. I had both, I should say. And so my upbringing started tough. One of the fascinating things about when people see me now, born and raised in Massachusetts. The United States is the largest economy in the world. And I think that one of the challenges I have now is that I look like someone who was born on third base. Blonde hair, blue-eyed, born and raised in Massachusetts. Yeah. And the truth of the matter, it couldn't be farther from the truth. I couldn't even see the ballpark. So when I was 2 years old, my birth father was John McCorkle. It was Jim, Joe, John, Jane, Joan, Jeanette. 6 kids, big Irish Catholic family. Yeah, all with J's. And John McCorkle was my birth father. He passed away in a car when he was 28. when I was 2. I had an older sister who was 6. Everything's numbers for me, so bear with me on that. So I had a sister who was 6 and a mom who was 31 at the time. Stepfather came into the picture. His name was Steve Lazaros. He worked for a company called AGFA. They did hospital computers during the dot-com bubble in Massachusetts. So he did very, very well economically, but him and my stepdad did not get along. My mom and my stepdad did not get along, and that's a polite way to put it. So I took his last name, I think around age 6 or 7. And when we were being the Lazaroses, we didn't really associate much with the McCorkles anymore. Fast forward from age 3 to 14, I playfully refer to that time in my life as boats and BS. We had snowmobiles. We had snowmobiles. We had ski trips, deep sea fishing. We had a yacht. We had an apartment building. My mom drove a BMW. It was the 90s were wild, particularly in the US, but the dot-com bubble, there was a lot of expansion. I mean, it was economic boom time, and we were definitely in that. So from the outside in, it looked really good, but from the inside out, it definitely wasn't. Mom and stepdad didn't get along. So 14 hits. I go from boats and ski trips to now I get free lunch at school because our income is so low. So my stepdad leaves, takes 95% of the income with him. He got the yacht and the apartment building. We got the house and the dog. And my sister moved out that same year. To this day, I've never seen or spoken to a single member of my stepfather's family.
Oh, wow.
14 years old, hardest year of my life. Didn't understand this at the time. This is in hindsight. We don't associate with the McCorkles anymore. My birth father's family. Stepdad leaves, takes his entire extended family with him. Never seen or spoken to any of them. I talked to my stepdad on Facebook Messenger a little bit, never seen him in person in my 20s and 30s. Same year, my mom gets in a fight with my Aunt Sandy. Not a good one. She ostracizes us from that side of the family. To this day, I've only seen or spoken to 2 human beings from my mother's entire extended family. So, didn't understand this at the time, and only in hindsight, doing therapy in my 30s, do I reflect on this and go, I kind of lost 3 families by the time I'm 14 years old. Yeah. And that same year, my sister moved out. So, it was just me and my mom in that big house, and I look into the future, no generational wealth, no trust fund, no dad. I'm in some trouble here. 2 trauma responses. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn are the 4 trauma responses. I had 2 different trauma responses. I know we're going to get into this. I think there's the real world and there's the social world. Socially, I used fawn. Fawn means you appease. You become a people pleaser. I used to call myself a chameleon. I can fit in with anyone. What I realize now is that was my way of not getting abandoned because I dealt with so much abandonment. So socially, I became this sort of chameleon coward. Just fit in, fit in, fit in. Don't lose anybody, don't lose anybody. But behind the scenes, it was fight. It was aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Prove it. Prove my value. I became this super achiever guy. Because I grew up thinking everyone else was lazy. It turns out I was very driven. And I got straight A's through all of high school. I got into my dream college because when my stepdad left, my dream college was to go to WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's kind of like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. It's one of the best engineering colleges in the world. And it was $50,000 a year back then. So I went from I hope I get in to even if I do get in, I can't go.
Yeah.
So I got straight A's through all of high school. I got the President's Award behind me signed by George W. Bush. And I got all the scholarships and financial aid that I could get, and I was able to go. And I got in. I got my computer engineering degree. I got my master's in business. And then it was weird after that because I graduated my master's in 2013, bachelor's in 2012. And this is when the economy is coming back after 2008. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm a broke high school and college kid, so I didn't need much. We didn't have cable after my stepdad left, so I was used to being broke. When I got my master's in business and my bachelor's in engineering, I was just so sought after. So I went from $65K a year to $85K, 85 to 105, 105 to 125, 125, peaked at 180. I'm in my early 20s. I paid off $84,000 worth of debt in a single year in 2014. I put all the rest in Vanguard because I was like, well, let's just get wealthy because I don't need much. My rent is $500 a month with my girlfriend Courtney at the time. I drive a $5,000 car, 2004 Volkswagen Passat. I don't need a lot because I was so used to being kind of broke. And now that I'm making all this money, I might as well just get wealthy and invest it. So I just picked tech companies and I invested it all in Vanguard. I had $150,000 in a Vanguard account. And I knew what companies to pick because science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance always kind of came easy to me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did very well. Then I get in my car accident. 26 years old. I'm working for a company called Cognex at the time. They do industrial automation equipment in manufacturing facilities. I did inside sales engineering, then outside sales. Vermont, Connecticut, and Western Mass was my territory. And big manufacturing facilities. I am up in New Hampshire, and it's a head-on collision, my fault. I crossed the double yellows. I was supposed to yield and didn't. Dark winter night in 2015, and it was a head-on collision with a lift-kitted pickup truck, what I thought was a Mack truck.
Oh, gosh.
2 things saved my life. Number 1, thank you, Volkswagen. I was driving the 2004 Volkswagen Passat. I mean, this car, I used to call it the tank.
Yeah.
This car is a heavy-set, steel, German-engineered car. Safest vehicle ever. And both airbags deployed, and we were okay. My little cousin, my second cousin, was with me. One of the only people that came back from my mom's side. And the second thing that saved my life is I thought it was a Mack truck. It was actually a lift-kitted pickup truck. So I'm 26 at the time. My dad died in a car when he was 28. So I'm quarter life existential crisis, second chance my dad never got. And I'm physically okay. We were rattled. It was not a fender bender. We were definitely rattled, but I was no permanent damage. But mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it was just the mortality moment of regret and all the stuff I hadn't faced. And I have these 4 buckets of life. I'll go quick with it. And I know this is kind of long. I now realize this. I didn't at the time. 4 buckets we all go through. Number 1 is you are unsuccessful and unfulfilled. Mm-hmm. I was a cart kid and a bus boy at a golf course when I was 14. My stepdad had left. I was 16, actually. And I was just a miserable human being. Unfulfilled and unsuccessful. And people said these are the best years of your life. And I remember thinking, God, I hope not.
Right.
Right? Right. Yeah, and it definitely wasn't, by the way. But yeah, they maybe the best years of their life, right? Number 2 is I became externally successful, but internally I wasn't fulfilled. Drinking too much and too often, industrial automation, making tons of money, high school friends to college friends to corporate. I mean, I everything for everyone, nothing for myself. That whole thing. Then I flipped the script after 26 and I go all in on, that's when I found personal development, self-improvement, personal growth. And I go all in. I dial that up to 11. Every book, every course, you name it, I'm all in. Fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach, happy, healthy, productive. But I went broke. I started a little company called Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. I wanted to bring personal development to the school system. That was a wild mistake.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, thank you. Really not great trying to get speeches and trainings at high schools and colleges with that slogan. Not great.
Fair.
I'm still kind of on that mission, by the way. But so I went broke. So now I'm internally fulfilled as hell, but externally unsuccessful, so I can't sustain it, which it turns out also kind of sucks. 4th bucket, this is where everyone wants to get, and statistically almost no one does. You are externally successful and internally fulfilled, and it's a mountain that gets higher as you climb it. And that's where I've gotten in my 30s, luckily. If you can look yourself in the mirror and say authentically, I want my future to be an amplified version of what it already is, then you have gotten to that 4th bucket. You are both externally successful and internally fulfilled, and now it's just time to up the ante and get to the next level. And it's an infinite game.
Yeah.
And so,
but that's such a difficult thing to achieve, and it's actually something that I don't know that people think about that often, right? It's because there's always some compromise in what's happening or where you are in life in your station, and to be able to say today is great, and if tomorrow is an amplified version of today, then that's even better. And that's a really, really tough statement to be able to make.
Yes, it is.
And so the journey to get there is got to also be relatively tough.
For sure. I mean, it's a duality, and duality is holding two seemingly opposing ideas in your consciousness simultaneously. On one hand, you have adversity and challenge and struggle and difficulty and pain and all of that. And then on the other hand, you have growth and achievement and learning and deeper understanding and distinctions and love and joy. And it's a pendulum. You can't have one without the other. And I think I'm a physics guy, so to me it makes perfect sense, the yin and yang of life. I am more successful than I've ever been, externally and in terms of internal fulfillment. Mm-hmm. And I do think in a lot of ways it's in tandem with how much I've suffered. It's what you do with the adversity, I think. And that comes down to self-belief. We can get into that for sure. But that fourth bucket is where everyone wants to get. And it's external success with internal fulfillment. And I do agree with you. It's very, very rare, because what the economy pays the most for is very rarely meaningful work. Mm-hmm. What's most meaningful to us is rarely what the economy pays most for. And that's unfortunate. Some people are fortunate enough, if basketball is your deepest passion and your deepest purpose, and you happen to be a Kobe Bryant, then you get to, not work another day in your life because you love what you do, quote unquote. And obviously it's a lot of work. But most people aren't that way. Most people, the work they do that's most meaningful is not what actually pays the bills. And that's actually my job now as a business coach, is to help people integrate those two. It's very hard to integrate those two.
And it's part of the reason that people, you have a subset of people who are constantly looking for the next opportunity, right? Because they are trying to marry what they're going to be financially successful with what they really want to do. And sometimes the skill set that they have is not the skill set that they should be developing, but it's the skill set that gets the bills paid. So if you're using that skill set and you decide, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of this one, maybe I'll do another. And so you see that in people's resumes all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
They've moved from position to position in the same, we'll call it genre, because they've got this really great skill set, but it's not their purpose. And so they can't ever get comfortable around it. And they're looking for that place that's going to allow that to happen.
And then even worse, there are some people where that is their purpose. Good luck competing with them.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, is for me, helping people grow their businesses. That's all I do now. Good luck competing with me when that's all I want to do. Mm-hmm. Like I work 6 days a week, 10-hour days, front facing, and I still work on Sundays with back office work. And again, I'm not recommending this to anyone else, and I used to be too much of a coward to even share this, but I haven't taken a full day off since that car accident. And people say I'm nuts. It's like, no, listen, I genuinely want to reach my full potential. And trust me, sometimes it's only an hour a day. Sometimes it's 18 hours. Usually it's somewhere in between. I am doing the most meaningful work, and I'm very mastery driven, so I want to get better at it. If the skills that you want to develop that are the most economically rewarding are not in alignment with your passion and your purpose, you're setting yourself up for your own trap, because you're going to buy a bigger house, better cars, start a family, and then you're going to be trapped by that necessary income, and you're not going to be able to pivot like I did. Like, I didn't have any kids, so I had $150,000 in a Vanguard account, and I was able to quit my job and go all in on my passion and purpose for a profit for years without having to make a ton of money. And that's because I didn't have kids. I didn't have a mortgage. I kept my expenses low. Low expenses are a superpower in the beginning of an entrepreneurial journey. And I do think that when you do find your passion and use that and package it for a purpose, which is helping others, and you find a way to make it profitable, once you get that triangle right, passion into purpose into profit, it's very hard to compete with that person because they love the work so much more than you do.
That's a powerful statement. And I've talked a lot about purpose over the years, and having purpose to drive you is so important. And there are a couple of thoughts that people share about purpose, in that sometimes we think that we have a singular purpose and we are driven to do that singular thing. But there are thoughts that maybe we have purpose that changes or varies over time depending on where we are, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to understand what is your driver, why it's important for you to do what you're going to do, it's hard to identify with until you've done it. And then once you've identified it, then you have to continue to evaluate it so that you're making sure that you're staying aligned with what your then purpose is.
We at Next Level University, we came up with the 5 M's of motivation, and it's kind of like a 5-cylinder car. Apparently there are those. I don't know a lot about cars, but my business partner does. And I picture a car that's only running on 1 or 2 cylinders, because people will say, how are you so driven? Because we have 2,068 episodes. I think 2,069 as of earlier today. And it's like, how do you guys stay so driven? It's these 5 M's that we talk about and teach in our group coaching program. So the first one is mastery, which is how much you love getting good at stuff. That doesn't drive most people. Statistically, that's my number one driver. I just love getting good at stuff. I don't care if I'm painting the deck or playing basketball. I have to be very careful about what I do because I dial everything up to 11.
Now, we share that.
Yeah, okay. All right, nice. Yeah. I'm someone who most people would consider an obsessive. I don't do anything, I don't do anything moderately, basically. I always joke I can't even do moderation in moderation. Okay, so that's number one, mastery. You love skill development so much that it actually becomes a bottleneck because you're trying to learn everything. So that mastery is number one. Number 2 is mating, mating/romance, which is you're love driven. You're very driven by having your dream partner. You most likely have envisioned your wedding. You have mostly family. You want to have a family. You want to start a family. We all have all 5 of these, but we have a couple really big ones. The next one is movement/freedom. So some people are motivated by never being told what to do. That's a big one for me too. Mm-hmm. So that's why we don't have investors, because I don't want anyone's hand in our cookie jar. I spent enough of my time in life. Now, again, that comes with consequences. I mean, we have to bootstrap our way ourselves.
That's right.
One of my early mentors asked, "Hey, Alan, if I gave you $1 million, what could you turn it into in 5 years?" And he wanted to set me up with some of his private equity. I said, "Listen, no, I'm not doing it." And it's nothing personal, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Kevin's like, "Only you would turn down $1 million when you were broke." Number 4 is we've got mastery/status, mating/romance, movement/freedom. Money/materials. This one's actually not that big for me. I have nice things now, but I grew up without nice stuff. Well, after my stepdad left, this is a big one for my business partner. He wants a really nice car. He drives a BMW. He wants a really big house. Money and materials. Some people really like nice things, and that's definitely not me, but that's okay. And then the 5th one, this is the one that's the rarest. And it's mission/purpose. And that's the one you're talking about, which is very big for me too. So me, it's mastery and mission, and then probably movement, then mating, then materials. But you can dial in and ignite every one of these. So if you were to take those 5 M's and write down everything you want under each one, you'd just be so much more ignited. Most people are just, they're playing with 2 cylinders or 3 cylinders. There's so much more motivation under there when you get the mud out of your glass.
I love that you're not a car person, because you haven't put this together yet. But there are 5-cylinder cars.
Yeah.
Volkswagen is one of the companies that makes a
nice
5-cylinder engine.
Okay, cool.
So having the conversation about the Passat, that was back right as they were transitioning from Farfignugan. Do you remember that? You might not remember that. So it's a Volkswagen thing where it's the joy of driving. Anyway, it's just kind of interesting that without even knowing it, you tied the Passat to thinking about the cars not running on all the cylinders.
Yeah.
I've also heard you talk about people thinking, or when you think about people and the way they perform, they can be driven by either fear of failure or fear of success. And I've never really thought about fear of success because it's very common for people to be afraid that they're going to fail at things. And I think we're all familiar with that. But can you talk a little bit about the flip side? Because I think it actually goes in very much so with the 5 M's that you just talked about.
Yeah, well, so this is a podcast called Uncommonly Remarkable. So I think you probably have a lot of listeners that are afraid of success. And the root core of fear of success is socially, it's very detrimental. So anyone can think of reaching a new level in life and then having your relationships react poorly. It's very, so there's 2 worlds I think we all have to live in. And this is not just me talking. I want to make it as clear as possible. I just surpassed my 10,000 hours of coaching, training, and podcasting with literally people from all over the world. And so, and I don't say that to brag. I say that so you know I'm not just talking. Like this is all based on my experience coaching people from all different cultures, all different backgrounds, all different countries, Australia, New Zealand, Italy. I mean, all over the world. I was just on with someone in Vietnam yesterday.
Wow.
So it's been fascinating to see that everyone has one of these 2 fears, and I'm going to explain. So there's 2 worlds we all have to live in. The first one is the real world. This is who you are and what you are when no one's watching. The best way I can describe the social world versus the real world is the social world is the wedding photos. The real world is the marriage. And I always say, if you don't focus more on the marriage than you do the photos, you're in some serious trouble. And unfortunately, that's not the Instagram, Facebook world we live in, right? I get it. You got to package right. I have marketing and branding too. Like I got to show up in a nice professional shirt. I get it. But my relationship with Emilia better be better than it looks on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you got to work on that more than the Instagram photos, right? So unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, but 21st century, that's getting worse. So 2 worlds we all have to live in. The real world is who you are and what you are when no one's watching. The social world is what people think of you, and it's packaging, not product. Everyone is more fearful of one or the other. So it's all based on self-belief, what's known in psychology as self-efficacy. I know you're a clinician, so you probably have studied self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is how much you unconsciously believe in yourself. In other words, what's the record playing is a good way to think of it. So my record playing, and for the uncommonly remarkable people listening, most likely I don't trigger them as much as I do most people. I come off as very arrogant to most people because I have really high self-efficacy and they don't know that they don't, and I'll explain. So my business partner had very low self-efficacy unconsciously. The record playing for him, Kevin, and we've been together in business for 8 years, so we've got 2,000 episodes, so we learned from each other. Mm-hmm. His record playing is you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, and this is his words, not mine. You're not smart enough, you're not good enough, it's never going to work out for you. My record playing is you got this, you can do it, absolutely. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? Now here's the problem. If a very large percentage, so I did some research on this. The last time I did a meetup, we do meetups every month, and I do research for them. They're basically little trainings that are free on Zoom. And one of them was the difference between goal achievers who achieve their goals and people who don't. And these are the statistics, most recent statistics, and I did a deep research function on ChatGPT for this, and I went pretty deep. 3% of people have clear written goals that they actually achieve. That blew my mind because my whole life I've always had clear written goals with a number attached that I achieved. Those are the achievers. We just are achievers. Straight A's in high school, go to one of the best colleges, like make it work, graduate with high distinction. We're just achievers. And it's not even that hard for us. It's just who the fuck we are. Pardon my French if I'm not supposed to swear. Please bleep that out if this is not explicit.
Fair enough.
But I'm an achiever through and through, and that's just who I am. Now, here's the problem. You're not allowed to say that, and people don't like you. Other achievers like you, and everyone acts like an achiever around you, so you think everyone believes in themselves, but they're actually mirroring you. So if you're out there watching or listening and you have the record of not good enough, not smart enough, it's not going to work out, you most likely are triggered by me. Who's this arrogant 36-year-old who looks 12, who's talking about his 10,000 hours? The problem is I come off arrogant when in reality I'm actually inwardly humble, and I'm reading books every day, and I'm trying really hard to be a better person, and I'm working on myself every day, and I have a therapist named Carol. But you think I'm arrogant because I'm actually honest about how I really think. So that's why a fear of success for me is so much bigger than a fear of failure. If your record is I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, you do fear failure, and your biggest fear is being seen as a failure. So you'll constantly hide and focus on perception over everything else, and you won't try hard things, especially not in front of people. If you are afraid of success, you basically dim your light constantly, you're afraid to speak up, and you definitely don't want to be too much more successful than your peers. So we're all in this little comfort zone between a floor and a ceiling. The floor is I don't want to be the worst in my peer group, but I'm afraid to be the best. Because if I'm the best in my peer group, it means I have to lead, and it means most of them are going to be afraid I'm going to outgrow them. And so, unfortunately, I always say rocks go up, compliments go down. So you're obviously not intimidated by me, so you're not going to be unkind and disrespectful to me. And I sized that up the moment I got on, by the way, because I was late and I wanted to see your reaction to that. Yeah. So I have a filter for people that are very bad for me, that I size you up immediately and say whether or not you're going to, because a lot of guys I do this with, a lot of men I'm very triggering to because they think I'm arrogant and they rib me. You know how guys are like, they cut each other down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you didn't do any of that, which I really appreciate, because you're also have a lot of self-belief, and you have the fear of success like I do. So if we're both afraid of success, we're going to get along great. If you're afraid of failure and looking not smart, and you interview me and I look smarter than you, we're going to do this the whole time.
That's so interesting. So because it's like when we were talking before we started the recording, and you had something come up, and you were a little bit behind schedule, and then I had a technical glitch, and I was like, hey, I got to fix the technical glitch. And to me it was just a normal conversation, understanding that things just kind of happen, and neither one of us was intentionally causing any issue. But I never would have thought that during that time, like my reaction to you being a little late, or your reaction to me having to fix the thing, it seemed so normal to me that I never would have thought about it being problematic.
Well, that is your normal. You're very respectful, and you're not easily intimidated by other people's intelligence or success. You actually have reverence for. You ever wonder why everyone cuts each other down?
Yeah,
it's because deep down they're insecure. They don't believe in themselves. People who don't believe in themselves deep down, they have to cut other people down to feel bigger, especially achievers. And so we've been conditioned as achievers to dim our light in advance because we're so used to being cut down. And so you're not allowed to say that you're smart. You're not allowed to say that you're an achiever. You're not allowed to say that you're consistent. You're not allowed to talk about your 10,000 hours. Anyone who has low self-efficacy and thinks that they don't, who actually is internally arrogant, they actually think I'm arrogant. And they already don't like me. And they think, oh, good for you with your 18-person team, but that's just and so I now have a filter. I call it Unmasking. I can share it if you're interested. But these are the people that I make sure I steer clear from, not because I don't want to help people, but because I have to protect. There's certain people that just will never jive with me. A good metaphor is I wear this Oura ring. There's something called a readiness score. And if you get great sleep and you're well hydrated, it'll tell you, hey, you're ready for a tough workout. There are certain people that I just don't think are ready to do the work. And so I have a filter to make sure that I don't work with the wrong people.
And that's fair. And I think we all need to have at least some awareness, right? Because it's not even, you can't help sometimes the people you interact with. So understanding the different personality modes, I guess, of people in which you interact is important, because we all have to have that person help us at the checkout, or that TSA person get us through the airport. And so understanding a little bit more about them and how you can interact with them to actually ultimately get what it is that you need is an important skill set that we all should have.
So one thing that this will land for people, and men unconsciously compare to other men. and women unconsciously compare to other women. And that's why a lot of women mistreat each other and a lot of men mistreat each other. It's if there's a really, really, really gorgeous woman next to another woman who's really deeply insecure about her looks, she will react in one of two ways. She'll be a turtle and she'll shell up and not want to be seen or take a photo, and she'll be mousy. Or she'll be a puffer fish and like tear the other woman down. And men are the same way. And with each other. And it's because we're triggering each other's insecurities. And so I unfortunately trigger a lot of the insecurities in some men who are insecure about their intelligence. And so I can tell that you don't have any insecurities about your intelligence, and I can tell I don't trigger you, which is why I'm allowed to say any of this. I mean, I wouldn't be saying any of this if... and I used to be too much of a coward to even say any of this, even if I don't trigger you. But at the end of the day, I just think it's important for everyone to understand when you get mistreated, it's a reflection of the other person's insecurity and their psychological immune system's reaction to that, aka their ego. They're just puffing up because they're so insecure and they're triggered, and they end up mistreating you because fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn is fear of success. I won't challenge you. I won't challenge you. I won't challenge you. Fight is I challenge you. I'm going to challenge your intelligence because I'm insecure about mine. And it's a really negative experience.
And so as you think about your journey and how you've kind of made these self-realizations, if people are now interested because maybe they haven't really thought about this categorically, are there things that you would recommend they do as first steps to try to figure out, like, where am I? Where do I fall on the continuum? And what do I do next?
Yeah. The unfortunate part is that we have a conscious, a subconscious, and an unconscious, and self-belief is in the unconscious. So I grew up and I had no idea I had more belief than other people. It wasn't until Kevin started illuminating, like, brother, that's not going to land for anybody. And I started realizing, okay, so back to the stats, 3% of people have clear written goals that they achieve. 16% don't have clear written goals. And then there's 81. I think that's the correct number. But most people don't have clear written goals that they actually achieve. Most people are wandering. They're wandering around, stumbling upon persons, places, things, and ideas, stumbling upon a job, and I'm not trying to be mean. It's just statistically accurate. And for people that are big achievers, the uncommonly remarkable people, they're actually very goal driven. Everything is by design. And so to answer your question is, what do you do to start with? If you don't I always say this, why would everyone picture someone out there who acts level 10 confident? And you know deep down it's not real. They're like a big puffer fish. They're pretending they're way more confident than they really are. And I always say, why would someone with level 10 confidence have level 2 goals? It's because it's not real. It's not real. And then there's other people like my COO, Christina, very mousy, very afraid of success, been bullied. She has very high self-belief but thinks it's low. And then there's people who have very low self-belief and think it's high. And so it's very hard. Self-awareness is hard to give someone. And that's why I always say, if you have low self-belief, you probably need a coach who's going to help you with success. If you are fear of success like me, you probably need a therapist. And so I always say, if you want a coach, you probably need a therapist. That was me. I had dozens of mentors and coaches, and I loved success, but I didn't love, the deep work. And then Kevin, my business partner, he had a therapist, but he didn't have any coaches. So if you want a therapist, you probably need a coach. If you want a coach, you probably need a therapist. And honestly, everybody I recommend gets both. But ultimately, that's the best I've got.
Well, tell me what's next for you. I mean, it feels like you are living in what is working great, and it feels like you are growing what works great, amplifying it every day. So if you were to kind of look at future Alan, like, what is it that you would like to accomplish? I mean,
ultimately everything is kind of optimized underneath. I have this on my phone background. I have this on my, I guess I got a client. I got to jump soon, but I have this on my phone background and my desktop background to build the most positively impactful personal development company in history. So to me, I'm obsessed with personal development. I said this to you on the before we hit record. And if I'm intense, it's because I have to pee and I have to go. So I'll go quick with this. But I said this to you before we hit record. I said, I think everyone should, and again, I'm going to should on people. I think you, and I'm saying this to me too, by the way, should work harder on yourself than anything else you do. Yeah. If we all just sweep our own porch, the whole world will be clean. And to me, it wasn't until I started, after that car accident, I started really working harder on me than anything else I do. That's when things really started to open up for me. So that's what I would recommend. Yeah. And that's what's coming for me is building and growing the company, because we're trying to help people be the best versions of themselves.
And if people want to know more about you and Next Level University, where do they go?
Thank you. Exactly that. Next Level University, spelt just like it sounds. You can Google us. We have a podcast. It's all about success and personal development in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. Every single day, we do an episode every day, and it's half-hour average time. So these are deep. I mean, we work hard on these. And it's just going to keep you focused and growing in the direction of your goals and dreams. And Next Level University, spelled just like it sounds. We're on all the podcast platforms. We're on YouTube, all of that as well.
Alan, I have to thank you again. It's been fantastic. And I've learned a lot. And I'm going to spend some time going through episodes and learning more things. I have enjoyed finding out more about you. And thank you for spending the time.
This has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for creating the safe space for me to be me. I really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. This uncommonly remarkable. I love it, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too. You too.
All right. Bye. If you've made it this far, then I have to thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something new and enjoyed listening to the discussion as much as I enjoyed having it. I'd love to hear from you about the show, because we're working really hard to bring you great content, and the feedback really helps us get better. If you like what you've heard or watched, for those of you who are streaming out on YouTube, then take a split second to give us a thumbs up or a like. It really helps other people like you find the show too. And no one likes to miss out on the good stuff, so go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't have to wonder when or if there's a new episode. And until next time, stay remarkable.